Okay, so start with the content, start with the blog, and then think about the other stuff. Blogs are absolutely the core, the beating heart of the social web. Often neglected and forgotten, but this is how it all started. This is where, you know, the Tim Berners-Lee stuff started to come true. When I first discovered blogging in late 2000, it was a revelation. Oh God, I can create a website, I can put my stuff out there like that. It's so easy, 3 steps to set up a blog, very, very easy. And there's stacks of this stuff out there. It's a wonderful space to inhabit. It is your absolutely essential hub. You want to create a strong magnetic attractor for your work. You know, Terry did not start with a Twitter strategy. Even though he started actually with a podcast, the podcast was designed to live in the blog. It's got to be a home that people go to where they can interact, where they can find your content. If you're going to podcast, you host it on a blog. Right? It's straightforward. But a lot of people say, well, what do I write about? How do I get started? The answer to that, I think, is you've done all your listening, right? You grew big ears, you went out there, and you looked at what people are interested in. Now let's try and start answering some of those questions that people have. One of the best examples I can give you of this is another buddy of mine. This is Marcus. Witty, funny, entertaining Marcus. He kind of looks like a young Woody Harrelson. He sounds just like Forrest Gump. But he's one of the smartest, one of the most extraordinary men I've ever met. Marcus owns a swimming pool company. He lives, most of his life was spent down in rural Virginia. I forget where he lives actually now. He was a missionary for a while. He's done all sorts of strange things. Now he has a swimming pool company. He has one of the most successful small swimming pool companies in the United States. Is it because he builds better pools? No, he doesn't build pools. He buys prefab pools from other people and installs pools. Is it because he is like an incredibly good workman? Well, yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's great at what he does. No. Marcus has built his business on the back of a blog. And you can try this yourself. If you go and search, works best if you're at google.com, not at google.ca, right? Because Marcus's beat is the US, not Canada. You go to google.com and search for just about anything to do with swimming pools, in-ground swimming pools. You're going to find something from Marcus. Here's an example. I searched for, concrete versus vinyl pools. That's Marcus, right up at the top. He pops up in my personal results because I'm logged in. But then the number one hit here, beyond the kind of ad that somebody bought, this is Marcus's company, River Pools and Spas. This down here is a piece that Marcus didn't write, but he liked it. He's recommended it. Marcus is everywhere. You search for anything to do with swimming pools in the US, you're going to find Marcus. What does he do? He goes out every morning to one or other of the job sites where his team are installing swimming pools, and his customers have questions. They say, okay, so this vinyl pool, I love the color of it. Is that going to fade with the chlorine in the water and the sunlight on it? So he'll talk to them about that, and then he'll go home that night and he'll write a blog post about it. And he'll scatter through that blog post the wording of the question the customer asked, so that when hundreds of thousands of similar customers all around the world are asking that same question because they're thinking about buying a pool, Marcus is answering their question. It's pure genius. He goes by the sales lion now online. He's now, as you saw from the photo, Marcus spends just as much time going around the world talking about content marketing and online sales as he does installing pools. His content approach, though, is the thing that just kills me. It's simple, it's brilliant. You all have areas of expertise, right? You are all creators, you are writers. You have stuff that you know about. Stuff that, in many cases, you've probably spent years researching. Again, I guarantee there are people out there who have questions that you're able to answer. So that's what your blog's for. You go out to your blog and you start answering those questions. And then you support it. You build the layers on top. So you build your Twitter layer. Twitter, again, we can't ignore it. It's enormous. I joined in 1996. It's now 6 years old. It kind of blows my mind. It's 6 years old. It is a huge, huge beast. And Twitter is now the front line of a lot of social conversation. And I won't go on to talking about the Arab Spring and all that stuff, don't worry. But it is an amazing place where news is breaking, where hot topics and trends are being debated. There are thousands of conversations out there relevant to your interests every day. The only way you're going to find them is if you dive in and start participating. The thing about Twitter, the thing about people using Twitter, and the way it works best, the most successful users of Twitter, are people who give an awful lot more than they take. It's built around this extraordinary karmic culture of generosity, sharing stuff, retweeting stuff. I have a friend called Scott Stratton here in Toronto who has, I think he's got like 116,000 people following him on Twitter now. And he's just a regular ordinary marketing consultant with a dodgy beard. He's your archetypal sketchy goatee marketing consultant guy. I had a sketchy goatee and I realized it was too stereotypical, I shaved it off. But he's built this amazing, incredible, potent following, mostly by sharing other people's stuff. Not by writing so much of his own stuff, by going and finding stuff that's interesting and saying, wow, retweet that, and retweet that, share that. And he's become this amazing hub for interesting material. You can also do this. Twitter, however, requires you to form a habit. It's something you've got to get plugged into. And half of the stuff you're going to be doing is going to be sharing. A quarter of the stuff you're going to be doing is just interacting. And then, this is the nice thing, at least a quarter of the time, you can also say, oh yeah, I wrote about this, a blog post a few weeks ago. Oh yeah, you'll find, actually I'm getting into that in the new book I'm just writing. Or if you go and read my third book, you'll find exactly that thing. So you can do a little bit of self-promotion, but you just got to mix it in there, right? It's not what it's all about. And then the F layer, the Facebook bit, the behemoth. Facebook is scary and weird, and they keep changing the rules and screwing around with it. It's a very odd space. But yes, there's a lot of people there, and yes, it makes sense. Skipping right to the bottom, I think the best thing a creator, the best thing an author or an artist can do is actually either set up a fan page about your work, or, even better, maybe think sideways. And I want to introduce a new idea to you here. There's a guy I know in the US called Doc Searles who came up with this thought, the because effect, he calls it. If I was to ask you, how does Google make money? What would you say? How does Google make money? Right. They make money out of advertising. But is Google an advertising company? Well, if you ask the guys at Google, they would say, we're a search business. That's what we do. We're a search business. But they don't make money with search. Google makes money because of search. Because they're the best in the search business, they're able to make an enormous amount of money with advertising, right? And this is how the because effect works. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? This is a multimedia presentation, animation and everything. If you think sideways, think tangentially about shared interests. A friend of mine wrote a lovely book over the last few years about the Toronto Lakeshore, about the various different neighborhoods along the Toronto Lakeshore. And she has created a fan page for the book, which is coming out next year. And I suggested that what she do on the fan page is not talk about the book, but talk about all the other stories that couldn't fit into the book. All these wonderful stories she encountered about the neighborhoods of the Toronto Lakeshore. Think tangentially. You will get people interested in the book because of this stuff you're contributing, not by just saying, be interested in my book. Not by just blatantly promoting the book. You've got to think, as I say, slightly sideways about stuff. I mentioned earlier, incidentally, the power of Facebook advertising. If you are of a even mildly geeky disposition and you want to play with this, if you've got a Facebook fan page, even if you haven't, go and set up a Facebook fan page. It takes 2 seconds to do. And then you can use Facebook's ad generator. Or I'll happily sit down with any of you for 15 minutes and show you how this thing works. It is mind-blowing. You can target ads with laser-like accuracy inside Facebook. And we've done this repeatedly for clients. We're not an ad agency. I know nothing about advertising. But this stuff is brilliant, simple, and it works. We had a client came to us, huge brand, very well known, household name. their Facebook page had 179 likes, which is miserable. So we said, well, have you done any Facebook advertising? And he went, no, don't know how that works. Well, neither did we. So we sort of dived in, played around with it. We threw up a couple of ads targeted to all of the interests that we know people follow about that company. Within a week, I'm not making this up, within a week, we've gone from 179 to 5,600 fans. Just based on people clicking through an advert that cost us $750. Yeah, it's remarkable. And now, 5,600 fans, now I've got a community. Now I've got people I can do stuff with. I could spend hours and hours and hours on this, but unfortunately, I can't. I need to start wrapping up. So, let me try and summarize some of what I've gone through, and then we'll do the question thing. This is really not all that hard. There's an ecosystem for all of you. For all of us, there is an ecosystem. There are people out there who are interested. It blows my mind, actually, when I go back to, I don't blog nearly as often as I should. I don't blog certainly as often as I used to. But there are certain posts on my blog that continue to rise to the surface, that continue to draw enormous traffic. I know, for example, that there are a ton of people out there interested in cooking and recipes. And for a while, I would throw up these semi-drunken recipes. I have a recipe for summer fruit pizza, where you basically cook fruit on the barbecue and put it on a pizza base. It's amazing. And I wrote up the recipe. Well, I'll send you the link. Or you can, Google Michael summer fruit pizza. You'll find it. And I wrote up the recipe while semi-drunk and put it on the blog, and it's still the #1 traffic driver on my blog. So if I wanted to, hey, I could start throwing out some of my other recipes. I could become a cooking blogger. There is an ecosystem for that, just as an ecosystem for just about everything you can imagine. Find your ecosystem, start participating. And then start following a few very simple rules. It is as easy as this. Go out and talk to people, and you're all nice guys. You've been smiling and giggling and and sort of even nodding your head sagely every now and again, which I'd like. So do that online. Why would you be anything else? It's amazing, as I say, the trolls who come out on the CBC News stories and CNN and everywhere else. You don't have to be like them. Just be yourself, contribute. Try not to be one of those. Don't get into too much self-promotion, okay? The thing that I have to struggle against all the time with my clients is trying to convince them not to let copywriters write their Facebook updates and their Twitter tweets. This is supposed to be conversation. It's not all about promotion. Nobody is actually interested in the new Model 76 Alpha Gigafnord that you've just launched. There's a wonderful cartoon, I should have brought this in, this photo of a guy like this. And I wonder if my favorite brand of paper towel has a Twitter feed I could follow. That guy doesn't exist. Nobody's actually doing that. And it's the same in the microcosm, right? There's nobody out there going, I wonder if anybody's actually written a book about restoring ancient 1960s Hornby 00 gauge model railways. They're not actually looking for that kind of straight promotion. But they'll find you if you're participating. I was going to play the musical clip, but it's just not worth it. In other words, it's very simple. Don't push it, right? Just let it happen naturally. Just get out there. You are creators, damn it, as I said earlier. Create. Go and write, and let it flow. Oh, and by the way, don't listen to social media experts. This is the thing. I read these posts every now and again. I've actually got a blog post in draft that I've never published, the title of which is Social Media, You're Doing It Wrong. There isn't really a wrong way of doing it. Okay, you'll hear idiots like me saying, you got to do this and don't do this. And we get, again, if I talk about my clients, sometimes they'll sweat over the fact that their last Facebook status update went up and it had a typo in it. Nobody gives a crap. This stuff moves so fast, it flows so fluidly. People forget about things instantly. Just get out there and enjoy yourselves. In fact, that, I would say, is perhaps the single most important thing to remember. We have this structured methodology that we take clients through. It wasn't appropriate to talk you through for today's audience. It's a corporate methodology to get big companies to start thinking about how to use social media. And it's called LOOP. Listen, organize, optimize, participate. But very often, when I'm thinking about the P part of that loop, the iterative process we take people through, I want to say, no, it's not participate, it's play. The weird thing is that actually all of the most successful case studies for social media in pretty much any business, any space you can name, are those that are heavily infused with a certain sense of fun, a sense of play. And that's what I would encourage you to do. Get out there and play. Or, to again quote an ancient friend of mine, when you're thinking of this stuff, don't think of it as a distribution vehicle. It's not, all these Mack trucks. It's not the series of tubes. Social media, the internet underneath it, is a table for two. That's what it is. It's a conversation. And that's it. I will now take all of your harangues, heckling, and questions.